Okay, look, the market hasn't quite adjusted as much as I thought or hoped for, but you know it's bad when new home builders straight up lower their price, especially when we're talking about a model home. But check this out. Just 2 weeks ago, I got alerts that Woodside Homes lowered this model home by $143,000. Then I got this email that they had lowered their other model by $165,000. Basically, Woodside Homes chopped 20% right off the price of their model homes in this one particular community. And the best part, neither one are in escrow still. All right, so stay tuned as we dig deeper into this market to find out what exactly happened last month and where we're actually headed. Okay, like we always do, first up are last month's sales. Last month, we sold a record-setting 1,320 homes. This was a 57% decrease from November of last year. This was also a 12% decrease from October, when we sold less homes than we did during the height of the pandemic. There's just simply no way to spin this. Sales are terrible. Most likely this month will be even worse. Then January will probably be coming in around 1,000 to maybe 1,100 sales. So like I've been saying for months now, it's going to get much worse before we start getting better. All right, next let's move on to what effect this had on median prices. As you can see on the screen now, the median price dipped by $10,000 again last month to drop us down to $425,000. We're now down $60,000 in just, 6 months? In other words, we're now down 12% from the high. Ironically, this still puts us up 1% from November of last year. However, I can all but guarantee that next month we'll end this year down about 3% from 2021. All right, now let's see how this inventory levels have been shaping up. Typical for this type of year, the inventory has decreased 6 weeks in a row to settle in at just under 7,400 homes. Now, this is really the lone bright spot for our market. Even though sales and values are plummeting, inventory is still very much limited. Now, in the long run, this is incredibly important. If you didn't watch my last video about how the market will eventually recover, this right here is the main catalyst for that recovery. So please check that video out so you know what signs to be looking for on the near horizon. All right, next let's quickly see what effect this had on housing absorption by price range. Now this metric shows us how competitive different price ranges are performing. Now the higher the percentage number of homes under contract, the more competitive that price range is actually performing. Now, first up are going to be homes priced between $250,000 and $500,000. This remained consistent at 22%. This is also the vast majority of our entire market. All right, next we move to $500,000 to $750,000. This actually improved from 16% to 18%. Next, we look at homes priced between $750,000 to $1 million. This also improved from 13% to 15%. Next, let's look at luxury, $1 million to $1.5 million. This increased marginally from 14% to 15%. Finally, we have the ultra luxury market of over $1.5 million. This was the first segment to dip from 12 to 11%. Now, the reality is that while a couple price ranges improved by percentage, the amount of homes under contract still were reduced from the previous month. So in the end, it's fair to say that housing absorption overall is still pretty dismal at 20% overall. Now, especially considering our high of 67% back in March, not good. All right, with all that out of the way, let's make some sense out of all this madness. But before we start to wrap this up, I wanted to share with you one statistic that really seemed troubling to me. Right now, 47% of the homes for sale on the MLS are listed as vacant properties. 47%. That seems incredibly troubling for home values. Now, either sellers have already moved out of their property and/or investors are dumping their property without tenants. Now, in either case, you run into a considerable amount of sellers that are still making a mortgage payment and either receiving no rental income to compensate, or that seller is paying an additional mortgage or rent somewhere else. Now, suffice to say, about 40% of sellers out there should be getting pretty damn motivated here shortly under those circumstances, which leads us to the future. What's next? As I said in the beginning of the video, I don't feel that sellers have really taken this market seriously yet. I'm simply not seeing the price reductions necessary to actually start motivating these buyers to purchase. While the market's down 12% overall, until a neighborhood comes down about 20%, I'm just not seeing properties really move much. Every day I pull neighborhoods with multiple homes for sale, with none under contract and no previous sales for months. Now, these are ticking time bombs just waiting to explode. Even though we're likely to only sell about a third of the homes that we did last year this month, still, people are purchasing. But typically these homes are either special in nature or they're just really priced to move. December and January are typically the worst 2 months of the year, so I wouldn't expect much positive growth in the near future. I'm guessing in the next couple of months, we're going to see the median price drop $15,000 to $25,000, maybe even more. Now, if you're looking to sell, you're much better off right now making a splash and pricing that property aggressively. The few listings that I've seen that were priced aggressively, they either sold in a week or they wound up with multiple offers and it got bid up from the listing price. Either way, they sold. Now, the worst move you can make right now is to overprice your home and then just sit on the market stagnant. Now, if you're a buyer, be very cautious of these neighborhoods with no sales and no properties under contract. There's simply no telling how far prices may go down in those neighborhoods. So be very, very careful that you insulate yourself from potential future depreciation, as we're likely going to see this in the cycle for the next 6 to 18 months. Until prices come down a minimum of 20% and or the rates get close to 5%, I think we're going to continue to see diminished sales and reduced prices. All right, well, that's it for this month, everyone. Please feed that algorithm by punching those like and subscribe buttons for me. I would really appreciate it. Have a wonderful and safe holiday season, and I'll see you guys all next year. Deuces.